Picture this. You list your house thinking it's going to take a couple weeks to sell, and you get an offer on the first day it's on the market. What do? You got to sell it all. We faced that scenario when we decided to move abroad and solved it by hosting our own estate sale. In this video, we're going to talk you through how we did it.
We made over 10 grand in a weekend. We had to put in some work to accomplish that, but frankly, you've got to sort your stuff anyway. So it wasn't that big of a lift to sell it ourselves. We just picked the sale date and worked backwards from it. We put together a checklist. We made a plan. We started advertising as we were sorting the stuff in our house, and we pulled it off. We ended up at the end of the weekend with literally nothing left. We had 4 or 5 items we put on the curb. That was it. And a bunch of cash in our pocket.
You have to make the decision about whether or not you're going to purge all your items or put them in storage. For us, the decision was easy. We didn't want to be spending $100 or $200 per month every month for a storage unit in America for items that we weren't going to see again. And honestly, this is a problem that we have realized a lot of other expats face when we meet them here in Albania. They decided they wanted to move, they sold their house, they put all their stuff in a storage unit, and then they moved, and now all of their stuff is just sitting in some storage unit. A lot of people we know end up going back and clearing out their storage unit or having a whole trip to do that. So for us, the decision to purge was easy.
I don't regret it for a second. I can't tell you anything specifically that I miss. I'm very happy we did this. I'm very happy we did it ourselves. We made an additional 30 to 50% because we didn't hire an estate sale company, and we could do it on our own schedule. When we started looking into this, we realized that the good estate sale companies that do this sort of activity take weeks or months to get you scheduled, to do the marketing, to do the pricing, and we didn't have that time.
And similarly, the idea of paying a large estate sale company 50% of the proceeds of selling all of the items in our house seemed like giving money to somebody else that really didn't need it. So we decided to host our own estate sale, and in a rapid fashion, got rid of almost everything that we owned.
Like, there were 4 things on the curb at the end of the sale, and they disappeared overnight. We literally sold everything from clothes to half-used cans of paint and garden tools. It was frankly amazing.
And let me tell you, the relief when it was all over, when we could walk down to an empty basement or walk upstairs to an empty bedroom, was amazing. Our estate sale was both necessary but also spiritual. We had to let go of all of these items that were holding us back in order to be freer to move abroad.
I think one of the things that I personally really struggled with is decades of family heirlooms. We had my great-grandparents' china. We had family photos that had been collected through generations. And I didn't want to just throw that stuff away, but I didn't want to store it either. So we decided to have a little bit of a party with our family, and we said, let's sort this stuff. If you want photos, take them. If you want grandma's china, it's yours. And we did that at the beginning of our sale prep process to eliminate the really personal things and make sure they stayed in the family. And then it became a simple process of, are we going to sell this? Are we going to keep this? Or does it need to be donated, discarded, etc.? It's actually easier than you think. We just cleared out a room. We completely emptied it. And we decided that was going to be the room that sale things went to. Then we started at the top of the house. We started in the guest bedrooms and things and closets. And we just decided that everything had to go in one of 3 areas: sale, keep, or discard. And as we did that, we started taking photos of items that we knew were high value or desirable. And we started figuring out how we were going to price things.
One of the advantages of hiring a professional estate sale company is if you are overly attached to your items, or if you really struggle with letting go of things, they'll do that for you. Part of what they offer is the emotional offloading to somebody else who doesn't remember going to the store to buy all of the renovation supplies, or isn't really attached to that specific vase or decanter. But that wasn't really a problem that we had. We knew that we wanted to move. That was our goal. It was our North Star. So letting go of the items, it felt easy for us.
I guess I would also add, you do need to be cautious to not sentimentally price your items. But you know what things are worth. You know what's a real antique. You know its story. You know its history. And we saw throughout our estate sale process that that was invaluable. We wrote really compelling descriptions that drew a big crowd. We could talk to customers and we could tell them the story about, my great grandmother's china. Or one of the most interesting things that I recall, we ended up selling generations of 4-H trophies, things that I thought nobody would want. They sold so fast and people were so ecstatic to buy my dad's hog trophy from 1973. It was wild. It was really cool. And it funded a lot of our move. So it was totally worth it.
My job during a lot of this estate sale was to be the cashier, to sit at the front and check people out, take their money. And it was wonderful to be able to see the new homes of all of the items that were going away. It helped me have a sense of, okay, these are going to somebody that really likes it. A good example of this is one of my prized possessions, a 1970s IBM Selectric 2 typewriter. It was ruby red. Sam purchased it for me for my birthday. I absolutely loved that machine, but I knew that there was no way I could bring a super heavy typewriter with me to Albania.
One of our neighbors bought it, a creative marketing professional. He saw it, he fell in love with it. And I couldn't have been happier to see it go to a new home that it was definitely going to get some use at.
We listed our estate sale on estatesales.net. If you're in the US, that's going to be the main platform that people go to and drive traffic to your estate sale. We also listed specific items and details about the wholesale on Facebook Marketplace, on local buy and sell groups in Kansas City, and on Craigslist. And honestly, we weren't sure how many people would show up. But at 7 a.m. on the day of the sale, people were lined up behind our driveway. It was Sam and I there, and we had to tell everyone, nope, you got to stay out. You got to stay outside until we were all set up and ready to go. It was exhilarating, a little scary, and a little surreal, honestly. Sam and I had done a lot of estate sale shopping in Kansas City, so we knew the experience as a shopper, but it's very different when there's a line of 50 people waiting to come raid your house for good deals.
It was wild, but it was so rewarding. It was so rewarding, not just the money, but seeing people find joy in the things that we'd curated over the years, from the artwork on the walls to the shoes in our closet. I mean, literally everything was sold in 2 days. And we were stacking up the cash, preparing for a move.
There are some supplies that you need in order to do this right. You need a way to take money, so a cash bag with some change. You need a way to take credit cards. We used Square and set up the Square register on an iPad. And you're going to need some help from friends, some people to walk around, to help people out, and make sure that no one is trying to steal or sneak off with any of your items. Luckily, we didn't have any bad actors or any sort of incidents, but we made sure to have one entrance and one exit and have everything else blocked off to reduce the chance of an incident like that.
If this is something new to you, look in your local market, figure out who the biggest estate sale companies are, the premium ones, and go to an estate sale or two. You will quickly understand how they work and what you can do in your own home to run your own sale in a similar way. I would also really, really caution you, don't treat this like a yard sale or a garage sale. This is a more premium experience. You need to market this as a sort of high-end thing. Make sure you're focusing in your advertising on things like electronics, artwork, things of real value to catch people's attention, to make sure that they show up. Make sure that you merchandise those things in your house. It doesn't matter where the things lived while you were living there. Rearrange everything. Get the premium stuff towards the front. Take really good, detailed photos of these high-end items. And as soon as you have a few of those during your sorting process, start your marketing. In the US, use estatesales.net. Spend the money, build the listing, continue adding to the listing. After you feel like you've got your listing in good enough shape that there is enough of an inventory of items that people would be interested in, start cross-marketing it. Facebook, Craigslist, Nextdoor, any of these platforms. Ask your friends and family to share these listings. And don't forget to ask your realtor. They have a huge network, and they're happy to help you.
The large premium items definitely get people to come to the sale, but that's not all you have to get rid of. You have to get rid of everything. One thing that worked really effectively for us is a little promotion I came up with. It was buy 5 items, get 20% off of your total, max discount of $40. This was brilliant. It's one of my few moments of genius, because it caused people to think, okay, well, I really want, this TV, but I might as well get a bunch of these little $1 or $2 items so I could get a larger discount. It meant that we didn't have to throw away all of the tiny little items because people were really trying hard to get that discount. And if you use Square Register, it's pretty effective. Honestly, it surprised me that some of the more challenging things, or the last items to go, were the larger items. It was the sofa. It was the dining room set. It wasn't, the can of paint or the little trinkets or the Amazon goodies. Those flew off the shelves.
It was really wild to see the reality of how the sale progressed versus what we thought would happen. Like Spencer said, we expected the big stuff to sell first, and some of it did, but we really moved a lot of clothing and shoes and tools, things that I thought might be a lot more challenging, things that I initially thought like, well, maybe we should donate these. We didn't donate anything ahead of the sale, and frankly, we didn't really have to donate anything at all because it all sold, which I think was a shock to both of us. Another thing that really helped is we advertised both of our cars in the sale listing, and we really started marketing those early. We started answering questions. We started using that as leverage to get attention for the sale, and we had a line of people that showed up to look at a 20-year-old car. They bought a lot of other stuff too. So list it, promote it, and see what happens. You're going to be amazed, and you're going to be very happy with the amount of money that you're putting in your pocket. Look, guys, you have to do the work anyway. You have to sort what you're going to keep and what's going to go away. So put a sticker on it, put a price on it, and put an ad up. You will be very happy that you did.
One of the nice things about estate sales generally that their pricing is reduced over the course of the sale. So if you have a 2-day sale, usually on day 1, things are full price. And on day 2, things are discounted, by a standard percentage. By being able to be in control of the estate sale, we knew that we weren't leaving money on the table and we could adjust pricing, on the fly. But also you need to be cautious that you're not pricing items too high out of sentimental value. It's a really easy thing to do because you know how much you paid for something. So it might be hard to say, okay, I paid $200 for this lawnmower. I've used it for a year. I'm going to price it at $100 and then it doesn't sell. It's tempting to be like, well, I've already cut 50% of the price. But you got to remember, your focus is on moving the items and on getting rid of them. On day 2, you got to cut that down.
So the way that we did this really effectively was to use a color-coded dot system. Anything under $20, $25, we put a dot on. That way we could very quickly adjust the pricing, update the signs that had the dot prices on them or the handouts. Everybody knew what everything cost. The bigger items we did price by hand, and we went through and marked those down by hand. But as Spencer said, you need to be sure that you're not pricing things based on emotion or based on what you paid for them. Things are only worth what the buyer's willing to pay. And that's important to remember. I would also tell you, remember that you're looking at what the sale total is, or that in my mind is what you should be looking at. Don't get hung up on one specific item. I know there are some things that we sold that I was like, why did this sell for so little? But at the end of the day, when I looked at how much money we made, who cares? Like, I'm not hung up on those things, and I don't think you should be either.
Look, we turned around $400 in expenses into well over $10,000 in profit, and that funded our move abroad. That is something that you are able to do as well. It doesn't have to be a barrier to you leaving the United States or making whatever move you'd like to do. It can actively accelerate your journey and accelerate your goals.
I think that's the real key. Yes, it provided us some money, but it also helped us move at the speed we wanted to move. I see every day on Reddit or in Facebook groups people talking about their 9-month plan, 12-month plan as they figure out how to get rid of all of their stuff. It doesn't take that long. If you're really serious about this and you want to move, you can do it in 60 days. We literally went from decision to out the door in less than 2 months, and we've been in Albania ever since, and it's amazing. I don't miss any of that stuff.
Look, in this video, we've only scratched the surface. Our comprehensive moving sale ebook is available for purchase on our website, smileabroad.al, and it goes deep, telling you every single step you need to take in order to host and maximize your estate sale and get everything out of your house and out of your way.
And look, we'd love it if you'd buy the guide, but really, we just want to help you. If you've got questions, reach out, leave a comment, talk to us, we'll respond.